Hello and welcome to day 2 of Psalms and Proverbs, Psalms 6 through 11 and Proverbs 2. Let's get to it. Psalm 6. David is writing to the people to Shimnath with stringed instruments. Oh, deliver my life. O Lord, rebuke me not in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am languishing. Heal me, O Lord, for my bones are troubled. My soul is also greatly troubled. But you, O Lord, how long? Turn, O Lord, deliver my life. Save me for the sake of your steadfast love or mercy. For in death there is no remembrance of you. In Sheol or the grave, who will give you praise? I am weary with my moaning. Every night I flood my bed with tears. I drench my couch with weeping. My eyes water, my eye wastes away because of grief. It grows weak because of all my foes. Depart from me, all you workers of evil, for the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my plea. The Lord accepts my prayer. All my enemies shall be ashamed and greatly troubled. They shall turn back and be put to shame in a moment. David is dealing with, in this psalm, being hounded down and chased by Saul. And he doesn't know why. So he thinks, is it something I did wrong? I'm doing everything I'm asked. Is it something I'm doing wrong? That's why he says, rebuke me not in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath, because Saul is the anointed one, the anointed king over all of Israel. So is it me that, and we feel this way all the time. Is it me that's doing something wrong, God? Why am I going through all these trials? And we don't know why we're facing some of our trials, but we do know that God is not a God that's not just. So some of our trials we bring on ourselves. Some of our trials are a test that Satan's putting us through, just like Job. And some of our trials are we're being attacked by people who don't agree with us. Some of our trials are the world being against us, like Jesus said, if you are for me, if you were of the world would love you, but because you have, I've drawn you to me, I've chosen you out of the world will hate you as it hates me. So you see, there's a lot going on in our lives that we can relate to this, but we've got to consider that there are many factors to why we go through situations like this, and we have to examine it and humbly come before the Lord and say, I might have done this. If I have done this, as David said, be gracious to me, for I am languishing. Heal me. My soul is greatly troubled. Dear Lord, deliver my life for your sake. And come to him and ask him to make sure we're right in our lives. In you do I take refuge. So this is where David goes. Instead of being angry with people for coming down on him and the suffering he's going through, the doubt he's going through, the turmoil he's going through in his life, I take refuge in you, dear Lord. O Lord my God, in you do I take refuge. Save me from all my pursuers and deliver me. Lest like a lion they tear apart my souls, rending it in pieces with none to deliver. O Lord my God, if I have done this thing, if there is wrong in my hands, if I have repaid my friend with evil, or plundered my enemies without cause. Let the enemy pursue my soul and overtake it, and let him trample my life to the ground, and lay my glory in the dust. Arise, O Lord, in your anger. Lift up against the fury of my enemies. Awake for me. You have appointed a judgment. Let the assembly of the people be gathered about you. Over it return on high. So he's saying, if I've done wrong, punish me. But arise, Lord, in your anger if they've done wrong. The Lord judges the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness, according to the integrity that is in me. O let the evil of the wicked come to an end, and may you establish the righteous. You who test the minds and the hearts. O righteous God, my shield is with God, who saves the upright in heart. God is a righteous judge, and a God who feels indignation every day. If a man does not repent, God will whet his sword. He has bent and readied his bow. He has prepared for him his deadly weapons, making his arrows fiery shafts. Behold, the wicked man conceives evil and is pregnant with mischief and gives birth to lies. He makes a pit, digs it out, and falls into the hole that he has made. His mischief returns upon his own head, and on his own skull his violence descends. I will give to the Lord the thanks due to his righteousness, and I will sing praise to the name of the Lord the Most High. When it says, he has whet his sword and he has readied his bow, God's sword is literally his holiness, his righteousness, his majesty, and his authority, his word, his truth, and his faithfulness. His bow is the cutting of his creation and his truth and his justice to the very heart of man. And when we stand before his righteousness, nothing we have ever done will be able to stand before his righteousness unless we walk in and with the Spirit of God by the Son of Jesus Christ. We cannot stand on our own righteousness. That's why David says here that he wants to stand in God's righteousness, because he says, judge me according to my righteousness, but he says in an earlier psalm, it's your righteousness that upholds me, because he knows he can't stand on his own righteousness. Psalm 8. To the choir master according to the Gittith, a psalm of David. Psalm 8. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and infants, you have established strength because of your foes, to still the enemy and the avenger. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him? You have made him a little lower than the heavenly beings, and crowned him with glory and honor. You have given him dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, the birds of the heavens, and the fish of the sea. Whatever passes along the paths of the sea, O Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. If we go back to Genesis 1, 26 and 27, God literally puts us in control of all his creation, not under our own authority, but under his authority and his image. We are supposed to take care of his creation. Have dominion does not mean just beating down and using for our own purpose, but having dominion means rightfully caring for and calling out the weak from the strong so there's better genetics, and rightfully using the plants and the animals so that not only we prosper, but they prosper, and maintaining a proper balance. That is rightfully subduing and having dominion. But we don't do it in our name, we do it in the Lord's name, because he gave us these things to take care of properly. So that's what David's getting. Who are we to take care of what you have created? We are nothing that we should have this job bestowed on us. We are but ants to you, Lord. Why? Who are we to take care of what you have given us? I will recount your wonderful deeds. This is called a testimony. It's also called worship. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will recount all of your wonderful deeds. I will be glad and exalt in you. I will sing praise to your name, O Most High. When my enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before your presence. For you have maintained my just cause. You have sat on the throne giving righteous judgment. You have rebuked the nations. You have made the wicked perish. You have blotted out their names forever and ever. The enemy came to an end in everlasting ruins. Their cities you rooted out. The very memory of them has perished. But the Lord sits enthroned forever. He has established his throne for justice, and he judges the world with righteousness. He judges the people with uprightness. The Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. And those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. Sing praises to the Lord who sits enthroned in Zion. Tell among the people his deeds. For he who avenges blood and is mindful of them, he does not forget the cry of the afflicted. Be gracious to me, O Lord. See my afflictions from those who hate me. O you who lift me up from the gates of death, that I might recount all your praises, that in the gates of the daughter of Zion I may rejoice in your salvation. The nations have sunk in the pit that they have made, in the net that they have hid. In the net that they hid, their own foot has been caught. The Lord has made himself known. He has exalted judgment. The wicked are snared in the works of their own hand. The wicked shall return to Sheol, all the nations that forgot God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, and the hope of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the nations be judged before you. Put them in fear, O Lord. Let the nations know that they are but men. We must remember that today and every day. Nations are but men. But if you read, I think it's Romans 14, God sets up nations and brings down nations. And I believe it's Daniel 2 or 3. God sets up nations and brings down nations, rulers, and sets up rulers and removes rulers for his good purpose. And the nation gets the ruler they deserve. Psalm 10. Why do you hide yourself? We all think the Lord hides himself, but David answers this question here. Why does it seem the Lord hides himself? Why, O Lord, do you stand far away? Why do you hide yourselves in time of trouble? In arrogance, the wicked hotly pursue the poor. Let them be caught in the scheme that they devise, for the wicked boasts of the desires of his soul, and the one greedy for gain curses and renounces the Lord. In pride of his face, the wicked does not seek him. All his thoughts are, there is no God. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are on high, out of his sight. As for all his foes, he puffs at them. He says in his heart, I shall not be moved. Throughout all generations, I shall not meet adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue are mischief and iniquity. He sits in ambush in the villages. In hiding places, he murders the innocent. His eyes stealthily watch for the helpless. He lurks in ambush like a lion in his thicket. He lurks that he may seize the poor. He seizes the poor when he draws him into his net. The helpless are crushed and sink down and fall by his might. He says in his heart, God has forgotten. He has hidden his face. He will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand and forget not the afflicted. Why does the wicked renounce God and say in his heart, you will not call to account? But you do see, for you note mischief and vexation, that you may take it into your hand. To you, the helpless commits himself. You have been the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and the evildoer. Call his wickedness to account till you find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations perish from his land. O Lord, you hear the desire of the afflicted. You will strengthen their hearts. You will incline your ear to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed, so that man who is of the earth may strike terror no more. And Psalm 11. The Lord is in his holy temple. In the Lord I take refuge. How can you say to my soul, flee like a bird to your mountain? For behold, the wicked bends the bow. They have fitted their arrow to the string to shoot it in the dark at the upright in heart. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Not just the foundations of the building or of our armies, but the foundations that we put our hope, trust, and faith in are destroyed. The enemy who's warring against us spiritually and in our lives, they're saying, what can you do when your foundations are destroyed? The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eye sees, his eyelids test the children of men. The Lord tests the righteous, but his soul hates the wicked and the one who loves violence. Let him rain coals on the wicked. Fire and sulfur and a scorching wind shall be the portion of their cup. For the Lord is righteous, he loves righteous deeds. The upright shall behold his face. That is Psalms 11. And now we're going to Proverbs 2. The value of wisdom. Yesterday we heard about wisdom, the Lord's wisdom, that the Lord is compassionate in his wisdom and nurturing in his wisdom and provisional in his wisdom. Now we're going to see what value wisdom is from the Lord. My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you, making your ear attentive to wisdom, and incline your heart to understanding. Yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding. If you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord, and you will find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk in integrity, guarding the paths of justice, and watching over the ways of his saints. Then you will understand righteousness and justice, and equity, every good path. For wisdom will not come into your heart, and now, or for wisdom will come into your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will watch over you, understanding will guard you, delivering you from the way of evil. For men of perverted speech who forsake the paths of uprightness, to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice in doing evil, and delight in the perverseness of evil, men whose paths are crooked, and who are devious in their ways. So you will be delivered from the forbidden woman, from the adulteress, who with her smooth words, who forsakes the companion of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God. He's not just talking about a woman here, but he's talking about lustful and covetous behavior and comparing it to a woman. For her house sinks down to death, and her paths to the departed. No one who goes to her comes back, nor do they regain the paths of life. So you will walk. So you will walk in the way of good and keep the paths of the righteous, for the upright will inhabit the land, and those with integrity will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut off from the land, and the treacherous will be rooted out in it. So that is Psalms 6 through 11 and Proverbs 2. We will pick up from there tomorrow. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below, and we will talk about them and respond to them in the comments section. Thank you for listening. We do love your comments as we learn from one another. Thank you and have a good night.